Good afternoon, ladies. Jody here, founder of the Holistic Anxiety Fix. So this is a 12-week program where I help women like yourself get to the root causes of anxiety from a holistic level. So we're looking at mind, we're looking at body, we're looking at you as a whole person, and we're finding out why your anxiety is wreaking havoc on your life. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about blood work. So I also just did a post on this. So blood work is one of those things where, you go to the doctor and you feel it intuitively, right? Like something is not right. Something feels intuitively wrong. Maybe you have symptoms of your anxiety that are more physical than nature. So you have heart palpitations, you're waking up in the middle of the night in panic. You're sweating, you're having tingling all over your body. There's a whole host of physical symptoms that goes along with anxiety. And so you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go to my doctor, we're gonna run blood work, and something's gonna show up. You're like convinced of it. And then you go to your doctor, he gives you the blood work results, or she does, and they're normal. And you're like, I don't understand. Like, how can I feel so awful and yet my blood work is normal? So if this is something you've experienced, just type me below, because I'm going to explain in this video why your blood work might have come back normal, and yet there are still physiological root causes to your anxiety. So the first thing I want to share is what blood work to run. So a couple of you have posted some questions in the group about blood work and what do I run? I'm going to my doctor. And so we want to take advantage of this because for most people, blood work is covered by insurance. So it's not an out-of-pocket expense. So the blood work that you want to run is everything. You want to run as much as possible. And the reason being is we want to get as in-depth of a picture of what is going on inside your body as possible. So this means a CBC, this means a metabolic panel, this means a full thyroid panel. So doctors are really big fans of just running TSH and diagnosing massive amounts of thyroid issues or not. You want to run the entire panel, including the autoimmune markers, because I have seen normal TSH and autoimmune markers that are super high. You want to run the full panel of iron. So you really want to look at everything. So then you want to recognize that the ranges that your doctor is using are actually ranges based on disease, which sounds a bit weird, right? So basically they're the tail end of the markers that when you cross that line, you now can be diagnosed with a disease, or things have gotten so serious that medical attention can actually do something about it. Now, this doesn't mean that you magically go from healthy to disease state, right? We know that it's a slow progression. And if you're sensing that something's intuitively off, you're likely progressing in a not great way. So what you want to actually do is you want to get optimal ranges. And so optimal ranges are ranges where we go, this is when you're healthy. So we're not looking for you to be diseased. We're looking for these levels are healthy states. The problem is to get these markers that doctors are using, they are using the general population. The general population, however, is becoming increasingly sick. And so these markers aren't reflective of the norms, they're reflective of sick individuals and not necessarily what's optimal. And I'm going to use an example that I've given a couple of times before, which is the thyroid. So when I got my T3 done, it was something like a 2.6, and it was flagged by the lab as low. So I go, okay, I have a low T3, free T3. So then 3 months later, I did nothing to improve it, but I tested it again because I just wanted to see. The levels were exactly the same. They were still a 2.6, but now they were considered normal because the lab had gone and expanded the ranges because so many women were having thyroid issues. Now, unfortunately, blood work is not necessarily enough to get to the root causes of why you have anxiety. Oftentimes, and this is the case for me, blood work comes back normal when there's actually much deeper physiological issues going on. So for example, my blood work came back normal and my hormones were actually all over the place. My estrogen was super tanked. My progesterone was very tanked. I didn't have the ability to detox my hormones. My blood work also came back normal when I had a giant worm living inside of me. My blood work came back normal when I had an amoeba. So oftentimes it's really difficult to pick up kind of chronic low-grade health issues that aren't enough to cause disease, but are enough to cause discomfort and symptoms. And this is where functional lab testing comes in, and it's actually why I love it, because I knew intuitively there was something off with me, and yet the blood work and my doctor was telling me everything was normal. So when I started to run functional lab testing on myself, and also the same thing happens with my clients, we start to see results. And it can be scary to find a test and something comes back, but it's also somewhat comforting because then you know, oh, there is a reason why I'm feeling like this. There's a reason why I'm so anxious that I can't fall asleep at night, or I'm waking up with heart palpitations. There's always a reason, but the tests for blood work just aren't sensitive enough to get to those reasons. And so I'm here to tell you that there is a way to dive deeper, and when you are looking at your blood work, to look at functional optimal ranges. And I also want to share that next month I have a super special offer which involves diving deeper. So stay tuned for May, because I'm going to be adding on a super cool bonus to the Holistic Anxiety Fix for anyone that signs up in May. And it's going to give you a much clearer picture on what's going on with a certain system in your body. So if you've ever been frustrated with your blood work results coming back within range, I want you to let me know below. Just type me in the comments or like this video. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again shortly.